Team Wars week, what would this be, 16? 17? No, this would be 16, right? Last one was 15? I can't remember. I didn't say the week for last time. We'll figure it out. It'll be in the title. It'll be correct in the title. Team Wars choices. We're just going to go through it. Somebody in chat said the choices are pretty self-explanatory, but the strategy might not be. So let's check this out. Let's just look quick. We got Cock Magic Potential. We got the Coop. We got Sam. We got Big Boy. We got that guy. We got that guy. We got that guy. All right. We're going to withhold our judgment on this first one. I'm assuming the Coop is going to be right, but we'll see. Power Bind obviously is going to be the choice. You don't want to Power Bind that Stan of Many Moons, quite possibly. I remember this deck from not that long ago, actually. The Paladin Rats is actually quite often choice options, and it usually goes what could kill or benefit the rats, and whether or not it's important to cycle or not. So the Paladin cycle in this deck is probably much more important to try to cycle to the Psalm, cycle to the cows, cycle to the Drow potentially. And on top of that, rats will just get lit up by the hamsters. Rats will get lit up by the Terrence Mephisto. They'll get lit up by the Frontier Bradley ability. They'll get lit up by the Psalm ability potentially. They'll get lit up by the Stampede. So the rats just won't get value. Usually you could use the rats if a tank could maybe Murph or something like that, where you can just bust up a tank, but you're not going to do that to Grand Wizard because he has his ability. You're not going to do that to Slave because it's hard to get the rats to break the Slave. You can break the Slave with rats. You have to put the rats right on top of Slave so they attack him at the same exact time, so that one of them's on each side. If they attack separately, it'll never work. Oh yeah, LeBard's an option too, so just smack him. Future Randy versus Grand Wizard. Future Randy is one of those cards where I really like playing him, but he is definitely, you could potentially lose with him by basically setting up your opponent to better field advantage. And I don't really see, other than maybe keeping the Drow alive longer, I don't really see any reason why you'd want to run Future Randy. So Grand Wizard Cartman's going to be the option there. Grand Wizard could potentially help against the cows. He's got pretty good ability in Team Wars because I think it's 2 hits and it basically takes the bar. So a lot of value there, and nothing other than the Cock Magic potentially to deal with him. So you're gonna pretty much get his value every time. I'm looking at this. I'm thinking the choice is gonna be the Coop, because the choice is gonna be the Frontier, because the choice is gonna be the cows, obviously, right? Also, the choice is Psalm. You're not gonna pick Witch Doctor. The choice is definitely Catapult. You're not gonna pick Terrence Mephisto. Hamsters, just mostly because hamsters just absolutely eradicates the gnomes. So you would never pick the gnomes over that. You could, if it was hamsters versus... Nah, you're probably going to pick hamsters every time. Hamsters is just so good, especially against new kids this range. Now, is the LeBard worth it this week? You could deal with the visitors. You could help with the cows. If you hit LeBard and then you hit Psalm, it'll kill most everything. But would the slow from the Poseidon, the slow on the cows the whole time, that the Poseidon does potentially clash with the Stan of Many Moons, but typically double Stan isn't hard to deal with. We'll go back to that one. Drow is probably going to be the choice. You can win so many matches by just drowing at the right time, protecting yourself from the new kid, maybe drowing right at the right time and protecting from the enemy Psalm or something like that. There's a lot of stuff where you can just get incredible value from the Drow. So Drow, and also you want to try to play a game with them. Play the Drow, get the Power Bind on the Drow, and then play the Psalm, or play the Psalm, get the Power Bind on that, and then play the Drow with the Grand Wizard so they can't Power Bind that. You want to play, you're playing with their head with the Power Bind this week. You're trying to get them to use that Power Bind and not get a lot of value from it, right? Got to time it pretty good for the cows. Yeah. Could be good though. I mean, honestly, this week, the best way to deal with the cows is probably like play your cows on top of them. And then just prepare to lose a bar and take a bar on the other side. You know what I mean? Build that push on it. Because it's gonna be really hard this week to stop a bar from that first cow push. Like, unless you have Drow ready, Som ready, Poseidon ready, like it's gonna be tough to stop it. But it won't be hard to kill it before they're never gonna take 2 bars. And then you just have to play right so that you can build into the counter push and just wipe them out, right? Poseidon's not bad. Yeah, get the Poseidon out. Kind of like Stand the Great. Get the Stand the Great out to use against the cows. So yeah, if the enemy came at me with the cows first off, Poseidon, I would play Poseidon behind New Kid immediately to get the slow. If I had Stand the Great, I don't think I'd play that because it's like a big deal. If I play Stand the Great expecting to clear the cows with my ability, he can powerbind me, mess me up. If I play Poseidon and he powerbinds me, not that bad, not a big deal. You know, hamsters would be good to help deal with the cows. Your cows on top of the cows is, like I said, is probably gonna be the best play. Wait for the first cow to hit, play your cows on them, push them out, do more damage. Then on the counter, you could play Frontier, and then your cows could do more damage on the way. If he does, you know, if you do play Poseidon and he power binds him, then your Drow's good. So you could get Drow out, have Drow hitting the cows, staying behind while your cows go forward. When they play somebody against the cows, Drow the shield probably will protect your New Kid from the last hit of the cows, and then your cows will be protected for a couple hits on New Kid. Could be the difference between the game or not, you know. So that's gonna be the main thing. There is like the Drow. Honestly, I think I would honestly at every moment I would try to bait the powerbind on my Som. I would always play Som thinking he's going to be powerbinded, so only play him in a sense for like the body. Like play him to stop, you know, play him midline against the Frontier to hit him or something like that. Like expect him to be powerbinded and then get the value from the Drow. That would be my goal. That would be my goal. As far as this goes, if you're going to Frontier, you're gonna want to go the Slave, because if you time it right, you get the Frontier out there while the Slave spawns his cocks. That's 3 quick cocks. If they hit near New Kid with that AoE, you could take a bar with that Frontier boost. So keep that in mind. That can be pretty good. I'm gonna say Poseidon. Honestly, I don't think it'll hurt enough. I don't think it'll hurt enough to have them both, to have Stand the Great and Poseidon stand. I don't think it'll matter. I would say when you're playing Poseidon though, because you want to be able to play the Stand the Great if you can, or Stand of Many Moons if you can, if it's a right situation, right? I would say don't play Poseidon in the corner like you normally would. Always play him midline so that he's going to die sooner. Like he's gonna die to somebody. He's gonna die to the cow stampede or something. Like that's what you want. That's the goal. Otherwise, you know, slow play lead with the catapult is good. Leading with the cows isn't terrible. Never really bad with that. But I usually don't try to, because like I said, I'm gonna hold my cows to defend his cows. Drow value is gonna be really important. You could see some visitors, but you'd expect to not see the visitors, because with the Stand the Great or Stand of Many Moons potentially just wiping them out from like anywhere. Pretty much any level Som is gonna wipe them out. That's not very good. Drow at least survives 1 Som at half damage, although he wouldn't survive the LeBard plus the stand. So that alone makes me think that LeBard might be worth it, because if I can get the stand off, then I can kill you with LeBard. Like I can kill your Drow, I could kill your Timmy, I could kill your Frontier probably. I could kill those cards, but I guess the question there would be if you can get the Som Blast off. because I'm willing to bet you're not gonna see a whole lot of Sound Blasts in good matches. You'll probably see them in some bad matches, unless in that case, the goal will be to try to get that power bind on the Frontier or on the Drow. Try to get that power bind on the Timmy, I guess, if you can. That'd be wild. Try to get it on the Poseidon. You know, try to get it on the Grand Wizard. You know, the power bind on the Grand Wizard. I could see people doing that for sure. If it's going to be dangerous towards their new kid, they might not have a choice but to use that. But I would say I would much rather play like 2 energy on the hamsters and like push Cartman away so that he's not close enough for his ability to hit new kid than I would power bind the Grand Wizard, in my opinion. Got to clear the Frontier Cox with Bard as well. Yeah, that's true. Frontier would clear out. Yeah, I'm liking the Frontier over time. Frontier could deal with rats, deal with those, deal with those, deal with that. Deal with those. Do pretty good damage against those. Not like great, but like not terrible. Does get the Frontier boost. Poseidon does too, but doesn't clash with anybody. I don't hate the LeBard either, honestly. I could see either one. I think maybe, yeah, the LeBard is probably a higher value at a higher level, because like I said, if I can get the Som and the LeBard, we're good. Maybe I get a little damage with the Grand Wizard and the LeBard, and that's enough to kill something. I bet you using LeBard and then using Grand Wizard would kill Frontier and Timmy and Drow, but you'd have to remember you have to use the LeBard first, because LeBard lowers max health and then does damage. If it's already at a certain level, it can't. If it's already at a certain lower health, it can't do more damage. So you want to use LeBard first and then hit him with the other damage. So LeBard first, then hit the Som, or LeBard first, then hit the Grand Wizard ability, or LeBard first and then hamster him at midline or something like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I like that. LeBard helps deal with the roosters. Does he fully remove the roosters? Pretty sure he should. It might depend on level. If it's level 6 roosters, they might actually survive. I'm not sure how that works. No, they would die, I think. They would die, because the lower max HP would handle it. But yeah, LeBard LeBard seems good. LeBard is growing on me. Then you don't have to worry about that. Just focus on that, getting the power bind, and then focus on the Drow value. Play Drow in the corners. Don't lead Grand Wizard Cartman, because they could have cock magic. Don't lead Som. Don't lead Som into Drow or something like that. Like don't play 2 power binds next to each other. I would say don't go 2 balls deep with Cow's Frontier too early. Like if you're gonna pull that out, use it later. Because if I stop it and counter on you, you're screwed. You're screwed. LeBard Warcry damaged the coop. No, it hits the roosters. I don't think it hits the coop. I don't think it hurts the coop. But yeah, I think that's the choices. And then I would say coop is definitely the choice, just because Frontier's the choice. You might see some future Randys. I doubt you'll see any freeze rays. You could see some rats. You probably won't see any gnomes. You could definitely see some Poseidons. You will definitely not see any Terrence Mephistos. I'd be so surprised. I would also be surprised if you saw any Witch Doctors. I'd be surprised if you saw any hamsters, or flying hamsters, any pigeons. I could see maybe a couple teams running Amazingly Randy, but probably not. Frontier with the cows is just too good. Drow, probably nothing but the Drow. Maybe we'll see some visitors, but mostly Drow. You got to remember, there are bad teams out there that pick poorly, so you might see some there. And then I could see some people maybe running the Osimo, but the thing is, Slave's ability could just never break, and you win because of that. Like that's why you run Slave, because it could get in a situation where it's Slave versus LeBard, and he just never dies, and you just get unlimited health, and there's nothing he can do. You know, Timmy's hitting him forever. You know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of stuff this week that actually deals with the Slave. your goal would be the Psalm Blast. If that doesn't work, which it probably doesn't, then you're probably gonna have to LeBard him at half health. So LeBard could also deal with this Slave, which is good. Otherwise, the only other thing would be like, what would have enough damage? Like maybe Stan's just normal attack would have to hit at the same time as somebody else's attack, and that should be enough to break it. But yeah, I mean, definitely you could lose a week just because Slave doesn't get broke. So I would say all the choices this week are basically straightforward. The strategy basically laid out for you, but it'll be a lot of cat and mouse, playing, hoping he doesn't have the card that he needs, and then, you know, trying to just bait it out with some other stuff. It's all, you know, honestly, the power bind value is going to be huge, and then the value you can potentially get between that power bind with the Psalm and the Drow, that's going to be a big part of the value. And I think Grand Wizard value could be potentially really big. And then obviously the cows in the frontier are always a threat in Team Wars, so that could be part of it. If you get Drow out and you play the cows, I mean, that's just brutal, dude. Like, you lead with the Drow, you play like Slave in front of them, so they're fighting midline, and then you play cows on the bottom side. You wait. Right when I play a card, you play the shield, so then all my cows, maybe I'm playing cows on top of your cows, all my cows do no damage to your cows, but my cows get wiped out pretty big. So now you have full health cows at New Kid, and I have half health cows running towards New Kid, and you have a top lane which is Slave plus Drow. I mean, that's gonna be tough. This is gonna be a week where you can just lose because of the cycle they get, and if they set it up perfectly, there's really nothing to turn it around. Like, maybe you could get Psalm value, maybe you could get your own Drow value. Like, you do have potential, but like it's really got to be perfect on your end too. So I could see there being a lot of problems. I could see there being a lot of losses this week, but I could see there also being a lot of opportunity in the matchup to outplay your enemy, even if they have the best setup. But if they lead Grand Wizard and Slave midline, and you don't have any of your, like, you have just Timmy, Bradley, Drow, hamsters, like, you can't cycle to anything that has any amount of health, and everybody, they just get to your New Kid and just blast you. I mean, there's a potential for that. There's a big potential for that. Maybe enough potential where going the cock magic isn't terrible. But you gotta imagine that those frontiered roosters are gonna be definitely worth it. But we will find out. We'll find out. Tune in next week to find out how we do with this deck. And I hope this helped you make a pick for your team and help you make a decision on how to play it next week. We'll see you guys on the next one. If you're watching on Twitch, don't go anywhere. We're gonna keep streaming. Peace out, everybody. Bye-bye.